Good evening. Tsongkhapa, in his three principal aspects of the path, says, if you do not have the wisdom, understanding reality, or understanding the way things are, even if you possess renunciation or bodhicitta, you will not be able to cut the root of samsara. Nelu tobe hira mendena ngenjung chanju simla gomjeja sibe zawar chuba minuwe teje tende tobe tabla base. So therefore he says, therefore make effort in realizing dependent arising. This is the interesting part. One, he says, unless you possess the wisdom, understanding the way things are, even if you have renunciation, bodhicitta, you will not be able to cut the root of the samsara. So therefore he should actually say, therefore you will not be able to cut the root of samsara, therefore make effort in realizing emptiness. So instead of saying that, he said, therefore make effort in realizing dependent arising. So that is the point we need to understand. Dependent arising. As I explained earlier, emptiness is not equal to nothingness. Emptiness means empty of independent existence. So, emptiness and dependent arising, these are the two sides of the same coin. If this side is emptiness, then we say it's empty because things are dependently originated. Because things are dependently originated, therefore there is no independent existence or empty of independent existence. But the way to understand emptiness is not directly reflecting on emptiness, but the way to understand emptiness is by understanding the dependent arising. Because things are dependent on causes, conditions, the name which gives the designation, therefore there is no independent existence. Gyudanche mangbojil teni chungwa yinzang, gyudanche la madhube yomares. Rangshin jituba yomares, rangshin jituba mebatila tungbanyis. Tadi test yangsi samlutangor. You need to tax your brain a little bit and think about this or play this game a little bit. Then it will become very clear. Normally, I have met many Western students, or not necessarily Western, others also, who, as and when they come on the topic of emptiness, it's so difficult. Emptiness is so difficult. Then the Tibetan Lamas also sometimes, they also agree, it's not easy for you to understand. I have the knowledge, but for you it takes a long time. Sometimes, not intentionally, but there is this kind of tendency. But I slightly disagree with that. Because just to get some idea what this emptiness or lack of inherent existence is not so difficult. You'll get some sense, some idea. If you do a little bit of thinking, you'll get the idea. The actual realization, yes, of course, extremely, extremely difficult. But some rough understanding, it's not difficult because we can say this does not exist by itself, it is dependent on causes and conditions. Therefore, it does not have independent existence. That's not so difficult to understand. That is emptiness, rough understanding. But then in terms of our actual implementation, practice, or making an impact on our life, that is Extremely, extremely difficult. Like, for example, understanding impermanence. Whatever came into being will die, will disintegrate. That's not so difficult to understand. But to apply it in one's life, that I am going to die any time, and remembering that all the time. Similarly, realizing that transient state on other objects all the time, that's difficult. Because as and when you see something attractive, something nice, something you like, immediately it's a big projection, existing as if existing permanently, as if existing independently. It will stare very strongly in your face and you will be overwhelmed. So that's difficult. But to get rough understanding is not so difficult, at least according to my understanding. So what we need to do is we need to make some effort to get this rough understanding. Because when you get this rough understanding, then at least you will get this experience, oh, this is really true. And with this rough understanding, you will also be able to come to the conclusion, yes, by this wrong idea of seeing things as having inherent existence, we do get into trouble. You'll get that idea. So then when you make your mind more and more habituated with this way of thinking, then next time, whether there is a success or there is a failure, you will not bother much about it, because you have understood the way things are. You have understood the reality. But normally when we don't have this understanding, when there is a good news, we get so excited. Oh my God, we will start walking on the moon, Oh, it's good news, I won the lottery, or I passed my PhD, whatever, You're over the moon, so you get so excited, you see. Not realizing that bad news is waiting for you. And when you get some bad news, experience failure, you get completely deflated. The balloon gets completely deflated, dejected, push on. Right? There's tubdi pujam gubara. Jagar labgyo gubara full jadas. Riri chan ve. Ini keja khela ma che. Ngodi yungu do adi chume na lola. Top kosa tes ye onja tes ye ming tes ye ngu tes and des dodan rek mare. Des ya nam la tegre de. Ini re ngone re. Ta dusu hira me de ne ke nyom chunga da nying ji laso kumo se ga je nyom chung. Ta ko sam tek re sangma so mere tek re yoro. So that's the thing, you see. So therefore, what this teaching teaches, if you understand this reality of impermanence, suffering, lack of inherent existence, and so forth, you will not get too excited so that you will explode. Or also you will not get too dejected that you will get completely deflated. And because of that understanding, you will be able to lead a life which may not necessarily be very, very colorful, but you will be able to lead a life which is stable, steady. The ordinary life based on lack of information is very colorful. You have somebody to fight, you have somebody to laugh, Just watch any movie, Indian movie or American movie, It's very colorful. That's a depiction of our ordinary life. And what makes the ordinary life colorful is basically two things: food, sex, violence. If you watch many of these, animal movies, either on National Geography or Net Geo or whatever, that's what you will see all the time. The animals are fighting for food, for sex, and things like that. And human beings are not so different. It's nature, that's the way things are. So if you lead that kind of life, competition, fighting, whatever, then life looks colorful, You have so many friends and relatives to walk around, then having all these beautiful gadgets carrying around looks colorful, you see. But these colorful things will not help you when you are in big trouble. So instead, I'm not against any of these material possessions, but all I'm saying is, since we already said that we want long-lasting peace and happiness, therefore, if we try to cultivate that peace and happiness as a way of life in our mind, then you will be able to face the ups and downs of life very easily. When you're down, you will not get too dejected. Because then you will not be thinking just about yourself, you will immediately be able to think about many other unfortunate people, you see. If you don't have that idea, when you get some problem, then you start thinking, oh, I am the most unfortunate person on this earth, see. Nobody is helping me, see. See, I have no shoes on my leg, things like that, you see. So when you compare and see others, compare yourself to others. There's this story of one person who was complaining because he had no shoes on his leg. But when he walked a little distance, he saw another person who had no leg, and he became happy. Before he met this legless person, he was, in a miserable state, thinking, oh, I'm the most unfortunate person, don't even have a shoes on my leg. But when he met this person with no leg, he said, oh, comparing to him, at least I have leg. You see? So it's important to understand the reality and develop a larger perspective, not just getting struck with one's fortunes alone. So this is what these teachings are indirectly teaching, you see. So therefore, when Buddha was trying to help alleviate the sufferings of sentient beings, the one thing that he really strongly developed was compassion, loving kindness, bodhicitta. But then as I cited this quotation from Tsongkhapa, he realized that these are all very important qualities, but if you really want to get rid of the sufferings from their root, then the only way is that you need to see the way things are. You need to see the reality. Therefore, you need to develop this wisdom, understanding, emptiness, which means the ultimate way things are. The ultimate way things are. Okay? So here, what is really important for you to understand is, much of your experiencing of happiness and experiencing of suffering is not so much related to what is outside of you. They are primarily related to how you think. This is very, very important. For example, take the example of a marriage, because this will be something that you will easily understand. So that's why I'm giving this example, you see. So somebody marries somebody thinking that this boy is nice, this girl is nice, whatever. He is handsome, she is beautiful, whatever. So he or she chooses that person. But does that really mean that this person that you thought handsome, beautiful, or good is really the good one, the best one in the world? No. Because everyone thinks like that, and everyone has made a choice. So that doesn't have to be the best person, the most handsome, most beautiful person in the world, doesn't have to, and it is not. And depending upon how you see, how you perceive, you make relation with somebody, you buy something, and that does the job. So it is more or less your mind made up, thinking that this person is nice. And you are able to live in harmony with that person because your mind has agreed. So it doesn't have to be 100% like handsome or beautiful or nice or good objectively from its own side. Madhua. Even when there's nothing you can get fear, you develop suffering. For example, if your eye is not so good and you see a dark, small tree, and you thought there is a ghost, There's no ghost, it's a small tree. But because your eyesight is not good, you thought there is a tree, and you get tremendous fear, you see. It's not there outside, it's your misperception. Because there's something wrong with your eyesight. So similarly, when there's something wrong with it, the way you see things are, you get into big problem. Big problem. So basically, Buddha is talking about that. So therefore, we are studying this text. So today being the last day, we should finish this. So what I'm saying is really, you understood the purpose, of this text. Is to get rid of many of these sufferings and problems and difficulties, which is very much dependent upon how you perceive things. In other words, there is a gap, there is a bridge between appearance and reality. If you understand this, you will easily understand the concept of emptiness and so forth. There is a gap between appearance and reality. There is a gap or bridge between appearance and reality, meaning how things appear to you because of how you perceive things, and what is the actual reality. There is a big gap. Okay? Normally, the problem is we go after appearance. We have no time and no wisdom to see the reality behind it. So we just go after appearance. This person looks nice, so you go after that. You get in trouble. This house looks nice, you get into trouble. Go after that. Maybe something wrong there, you get into trouble. So it is in this way. I'll give you another example. These are important for practical implementation. Even when you do the shopping, go to the market, especially in big cities, when you go to a mall, you get cheated because you go after appearance. The reality is something different. The shopkeepers know this very well. So they will improve the appearance, the package system, you see. Whether you buy a mobile or buy a fruit juice, look at the package. Colorful package. What the thing inside, the fruit juice may be 10 months old. But you go after appearance. Similar is the way when you marry, you go after appearance. So in the shop, the problem is everything is arranged so nicely. And you enter the shop. And they had created everything in such a way that you will be, very soon you will be completely like duped into that atmosphere. First you enter into the shop, you're not so sure, at least mentally you're not prepared what to buy, what not to buy, but once you enter the shop, the way things are arranged looks nice, And each of the object almost is saying, please buy me kind of appearance, Then somebody goes ahead of you, takes that basket. Then you also start thinking, oh, I should also take the basket. Now you can't just take a basket and walk all the time with an empty basket. You need to put something, you see. Then you go a few steps further, then they say, buy one free. Oh, I don't need to, but maybe I can give this to my friend. So in this way, you get, so there is a thing called shopping coma. Once I was flying from, I don't know, America or Germany. In the aeroplane, I was reading a magazine where I read this thing called shopping coma. I said, this is very true. Interestingly, later on, I was reading a Buddhist text. That same thing is there, Tumsi. The word, I found that word in a mind training text called Tumsi. Tumlachine Siva. Rasi, any consumption, Susa Rasi Bahagomar, Rasi, Dinchimujachangomar, the Sia Babuyor. So I read the same thing in the ancient Tibetan text, market intoxication. You see? A clear indication that you experienced that shopping coma is that then, as I said, you keep on buying things, okay? Not so sure how much money is there in your plastic card, but still. This is another, okay, I'm digressing too much, but you buy a lot of things, then you come back, come home. When you start unpacking everything, then you come back to senses. Oh, why the hell I bought this one? Have you had that kind of experience? There are more things to say about this, but I'm digressing too much. So anyway, stop there. So what I'm saying is, in this way, we can be easily cheated. That's my point. By the external phenomena, by the relationship, by the weather, whatever, you will be cheated if you just go after the appearance. So instead of getting completely carried away or distracted by the appearance, you take time to find out about the reality behind the facade. If you live your life, this is what this teaching is saying, if you live your life in accordance with the way things are, in accordance with the reality, then you will not be cheated by the surrounding situations, by people, by weather, whatever. You will not be cheated. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. So yesterday we read that therefore Shariputra, since there is no obscuration of mind, there is no fear, they transcend falsity and attain complete nirvana. So all the Buddhas of the 3 times by means of Parajana Paramita fully awaken to unsurpassable, true, complete enlightenment. Unsurpassable, there is nothing higher than enlightenment, Buddhahood. So nothing can surpass it. Complete enlightenment. Because that is a state where you have removed all the negativities, all the imperfections, all the sufferings. And there is a state where you have actualized all the positive qualities. The ultimate peace, the ultimate happiness. So that's called enlightenment. So that is one way of explaining. Then after that he is going to explain the great mantra. Great mantra, that means now for the very intelligent people, he is going to give the same explanation of the process of entering into the path and then becoming a Buddha and removing all this obscuration and so forth with a short mantra. Okay? So therefore now he is saying, therefore the great mantra of Parajana Paramita. Great mantra of Parajana Paramita. That means if you study and practice this wisdom, perfection, wisdom, understanding, emptiness, then you will transcend. Ordinarily you got stuck in the samsara, but you develop this wisdom, understanding, emptiness, then you will go beyond this samsaric level. So that's why it is called the great mantra of Parajana Paramita. That means the great mantra of wisdom, perfection. The great mantra of, the wisdom going beyond. So according to many of the texts, it says that this line shows the path of accumulation. Tadine dinga de solam jolam tholam gumlam miloblam chene dinde jar khaba dinde dua by means of Parajana Paramita. Fully awakened to unsurpassable lana mepenga, because you will be able to get rid of all the sufferings, and there is nothing comparable to this path. So therefore it is called the mantra that will fully awaken you to the unsurpassable state. Minyam pada nyambenga. Oh, sorry. The mantra of great insight. Yeah, the mantra of great insight. The mantra of great insight means Shirap chimbunga, Rigpa chimbunga. Sorry, Nivadi, Tangpudi Shirap Haru chimbunga. The great mantra of Parajana Paramita. The second is the mantra of great insight. Rigpa chimbunga. Rigpa chimbunga means because through this way you are able to develop that great knowledge, which is opposite to ignorance. Rigpa chimbunga. Because it is this wisdom, understanding emptiness, that you will be able to get rid of ignorance and the imprints left behind by ignorance. So you will be able to remove ignorance and the imprints of ignorance, which are like poisons. You are able to get rid of all this. So therefore this is called the mantra of great insight, as opposite to the lack of insight or ignorance. The unsurpassed mantra. This is called unsurpassed mantra because this has the capacity to remove all the sufferings. There's nothing comparable to it. Like there are many other great qualities like bodhicitta, renunciation, but the capacity of removing suffering or afflictive emotions is not there with these other qualities. Okay? So the unsurpassable mantra. The unequaled mantra. That means if you develop this wisdom, understanding, emptiness, you will be able to move from an ordinary equal state to an unequal state. The ordinary state of samsara is an equal state which everybody shares. So through this way you will reach this unparalleled, unequaled state of enlightenment. It could also probably refer to nirvana also. If you use the word nirvana, then this mantra is saying that you will move from this equal state which you are sharing in the samsara, and you will reach that nirvana, which is the unequal state. Or you can remove both the samsara and nirvana just for yourself, and instead of that you will reach that highest enlightenment, where you don't get stuck either in samsara or in the nirvana, the pleasure of nirvana just for yourself. Sibad shive thanigal indene ene menebe minyamba ene sanji komo thobgre sera utende dua minyamba da nyabenga dunge thamje rabdu khabar chebenga si dunge thamje rabdu khabar chebenga. This mantra, this wisdom, understanding emptiness, is a mantra. Mantra, as I explained earlier, something that will protect you, which will remove all your suffering. Now, this does not mean to say that you sit there and meditate on emptiness, and then your poverty will go, your physical illness will immediately go, your headache will go. I'm not saying that this is, from that point of view, a cure for everything. But what I'm saying is, the majority of the problems and difficulties, including physical illnesses, can be reduced, and in long term, depending upon how strong your practice, you can eliminate all this. Because the physical illnesses, headache or stomach ache or poverty, shortage of wealth, everything comes because of wrong action. So according to Buddhist teaching, there is a karma for becoming rich. There is a karma for becoming poor. There is a karma for becoming, for having long life. There is a karma for short life. There is a karma for becoming handsome and beautiful. There is a karma for becoming ugly. Everything is dependent on causes and conditions. So there's the meaning. So therefore, if you understand this teaching properly, the real solution is there. The ordinary solution that we do in our ordinary life is called patchwork solution. Especially in the modern world, the solution they are trying to find is, I call it patchwork solution. Patchwork solution is na? Awu horgi pakzal lemba jabasi. Awu horgi pakzal rare wa? Ya te rare na dil lemba jab. Mas dirin na lemba jab. Ta sarva chuni masochi. Ene thama dila lemba jang yugen ji khende da kanji absu mandu ki ji chagra wa tuklo. Ko sembo kasi jab na khum dogen yakbo meba ji chagra wa. Patchwork solution. That means the modern system, sometimes I see it like that. Be it science, be it technology, be it the medical system. If there is headache, they'll give you a medicine just to deal with the headache. If there's problem with the hand, they'll give you something to treat only this part. Whereas in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition and also in the Tibetan medical system, there's a process of healing things by having a larger perspective, because everything is interconnected, interrelated. So therefore, one of the key point in Buddhism is train your mind, discipline your mind, remove negative emotions from your mind, cultivate all the positive emotions in your mind. We repeatedly talk about this. Why? Because the real solution is there. Depression comes because of your wrong attitude. Low self-esteem comes because of your wrong attitude. Overeating comes because of your wrong attitude. Craziness comes because of your wrong attitude. Poverty comes because of, you may be a millionaire today, but if you live wrong, in a negatively, you will be a beggar tomorrow. It's not so difficult, you see. So long as you don't have this proper perspective, the richness in the mind, you will never achieve success in anything. I mean, look at the Tibetans. I'm not saying Tibetans are special comparing to many others, but because number one, I'm talking primarily to the Tibetans here, and secondly, we have gone through unfortunate things in the past many years. So when we left Tibet and came here, what did we bring with us? Kaporwa means nothing. But what made us survive? What made us remain alive and still kicking? Primarily because of His Holiness Dalai Lama, because of the great teachers who had this inner resource, insight, stamina. And then secondly, the rest of the Tibetans also have, despite whether they are, despite of the fact whether they are literate or illiterate, but they have this wonderful culture of Buddhism. These days I'm correcting, we are going to publish the Tibetan version of Freedom in Exile. So this day I'm just proofreading those things. So I was reading like how much His Holiness, faced difficulties when Tibetans came, and then, sending kids to the school and then finding a place for them to live. I mean, you should read those things again and again. So the Tibetans, the point that is relevant here is when a place was given, say, in Belakupi, when the Tibetans there, were asked to cultivate the land, of which they have no idea how to do it. So when they started doing this, many of the Tibetans, they went to His Holiness and said, His Holiness, we will not be able to do this. This is very difficult. Not in terms of physical hardship. They are not saying this in terms of physical hardship, but they are saying if we excavate the land, so many insects will be killed. Imagine. They should work on so many insects will be killed, you see. So that is the culture, that is the attitude people had, you see. So much concerned about the lives of other sentient beings. So because of this inner attitude, you see, and then having a good leader like His Holiness, we not only survived, but now we are able to preserve our culture, our religion. We are also able to, flourish in exile, and also of some benefit to other people also. So your money will come, your name will come, your fame will come. Whatever you want to achieve, you will achieve if you have this internal stamina. Nagarjuna in one of his texts says, Davo silnun devayi dangni yönden jitu ji, nusim ngebe chishikcha tene dangno dal means. Nagarjuna, in one of his composition, he says, if you want to overpower the enemy, you improve your knowledge. He didn't say that you do this, kill the enemy. He didn't say. He said, if you want to overpower or challenge the enemy, improve your ability. Improve your efficiency, improve your knowledge, improve your education. What is use of ill will towards the enemy? He says. Exactly what His Holiness is saying all the time. Because if you develop illness towards the wrongdoers, the enemy, it will not harm them, it will harm you. Because you are developing this illness in your mind. Now, for example, right at this point, if we all start talking about the bad treatment that the Chinese government has done in the past, how many temples, destroyed, how many people killed and so forth, I make a, very fiery speech, and then you also join me, and then we bang the table, get very angry here. We are suffering here. The Chinese leaders may be watching a movie, sipping a nice cup of tea. Wisdom, this is the wisdom. And then if you look at the world history, or the success of a particular project, success of a particular family, the success always is because the members and the teams are working hard, doing their job. The failure is, again, always because the member of that particular society is not doing their work. They are only complaining, not doing their work. In the very beginning, when we came into exile, His Holiness managed to bring some money. Then he wanted to make money from there. He started this paper factory in Seor, which I visited. And also they started the Changdung soda. They all failed miserably because people were not doing their good job. So in the future also it will be like that. If we don't do our job, we will not only fail, but fail miserably. Because we cannot just recline on His Holiness the Dalai Lama all the time. You see. So these teachings are teaching those things, practical things. It's not saying that, okay, you study Heart Sutra, go into the forest and then close your eye and sit there. Because just by closing your eyes, sufferings will not go because one or the other day you have to open your eye, then the problem is there. You see. So I think it's important when you study this Buddhist text, you need to make it relevant in your life. One of the points that I make these days is make sense in the Buddhist teaching in today's world. Of course, there is a sense in the Buddhist teaching, but sometimes when we are not able to explain it properly, then we might start thinking that, oh, this may be the Buddhist teachings are for some monks and nuns, who have not much work to do. Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Especially now because of the situation that the Tibetans are facing. We need to change so many things. Earlier, the Buddhist studies were mostly confined in the monasteries and nunneries. In ancient times, in India also, the Buddhist practice was mostly confined in monasteries. So therefore, when that Bhaktir Khilji, the Muslim warlord, when he came, he was easily able to destroy the Buddhist practices, because he could see, oh, see, they kill them. These are monks, cleanly shaven head, kill them. Very easy to understand because of their robes and their cleanly shaven head. Then goes a little bit further, oh, this is the monastery, Nalanda monastery, destroy it. Destroyed everything, Nalanda monastery, Vikramshila, Takshashila, everything. And they wanted to destroy the practice of the Jainism. They wanted to destroy Jainism. They wanted to destroy Hinduism. If you read the history, Jainism they were not able to destroy much because there were many rich people. Still to this days, many Jains, they are very rich, business people. So they had like, Hindi में हम लोग बोलते हैं ना पहुँच है, इधर उधर पहुँच है, ताको जुगसदा पहुँच योरवा. And then Hinduism they could not destroy because it was not confined to few monasteries and temples, because temples were found in each and every village. We have to learn from these things, you see. So therefore, if we really want this Tibetan culture alive, which of course we will want, and the heart of Tibetan culture is Buddhism. Why? Because, at least to my perspective, good culture should be a culture which will help you when you are in problem, when you are in difficulty, when you face tragedy. Now, for example, the Tibetan culture of Park society. Of course, very good, we should do that. It's very good for our health, many people, found that this is very nutritious and so forth. Of course, we need to preserve that. But it will not help you much when you are facing problem and difficulties. Ta kange shu da pa yakse sa si. Ro. Nge nanglo ni mi ji shi so ta pa san da thau ro la ye ma ro. Me dus je samlo ta ke chim budwa. Culture ngune de kar. Ti jumsen de ta. Tene tan de tigne chawanga da chunga ta teme benga the culture. There's so many aspects of culture, you see. But you need to know what is the heart of that culture. All the expressions in forms of songs, dances, paintings, everything come from the Buddhist idea. If you have those bigger ideas, anything can be created. If you don't have those bigger ideas, there will be nothing to really proud of or show. Okay? Okay. So, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as truth, since there is no deception. There is no deception. As I said, appearance and reality. If you go after appearance, there is deception. Now here we are talking about not going after appearance, but going after reality. So therefore there is no deception. Even your best friends, relatives, money and other things will intentionally, and in many cases not necessarily intentionally, they'll deceive you. They'll deceive you. But if you have this understanding of the ultimate reality, especially if you have a knowledge, especially like this wisdom, understanding emptiness or understanding the way things are, it will be your constant friend, constant guide, constant teacher. It will be there with you all the time when you are in trouble. Your friends and relatives, in many cases, unfortunately, these days there are friends, relatives, even husband and wife who kill each other because of wealth, and which we read in the newspaper all the time. But even in the case of those relatives, friends, and spouses who are extremely kind and nice to you, even in their case, they cannot be with you all the time. Not only this is true when you die, of course you can't take anything when you die. When we came into this world, at least we came with nothing, but at least we came with this body. But when we die, sometimes I jokingly say, tell people that when you die, then there is a very tight security check. I don't know who is doing that security check, but they'll say, okay, your body is not allowed, leave it behind. You may be hiding something there. So when we die, we cannot take even this body with which we are born. Of course, then at that time we can't take anything except the mental habits, good habits. Why Dharma practice is important? Dharma practice is important because if you had done some positive way of thinking, and if you have particularly involved your mind, as I said earlier, Dharma practice must be done by involving your mind. If you had really meditated, involved your mental consciousness, not the sense consciousness. And in this way, if you had made your mind habituated with these practices, the habit will go. Habit will go. So therefore there is a chance of being reborn in a happier state. There's greater chance of experiencing long-lasting peace and happiness. That's how it helps. But the rest, you have to leave everything, including your body. So this is the truth, not only at the time when you die, but even when you are alive. Even when you are alive today, you cannot take your husband, relative, friend, or wealth everywhere you go. You cannot. A husband joins army, and for sometimes years, sometimes months, he cannot see his family members. Or even in Dharamsala, sometimes you don't see your friends, relatives, weeks. So you cannot take them. They are external material objects. You cannot take them. And more importantly, they cannot enter into your mind and think for you. If something is wrong here, then the trouble is there. So therefore you are the maker or the destroyer, maker of your destiny or destroyer of your destiny. So therefore I remind you by saying, take care. As I said earlier, take care. So remember this, take care. Take care. Since there is no reception. So this mantra that he highly spoke about is this one. The Paranjana Paramantra mantra is said in this way: Om Gati Gati Pargati Parasam Gati Bodhisoha. The Paranjana Paramantra said in this way. Now here again, this translation I just picked up from the computer, so I didn't get time to check the authenticity, but normally we have, just before this we have Om Tayatha Gati Gati. Tayatha Om Gati Gati Pargati Parasam Gati Bodhisoha. This word Tayatha, it is like this, has a big meaning. I mean, we don't have much time to explain it, but it is in this way basically saying that the Avalokiteshvara or whoever is discussing this, they are saying that I'm giving you this teaching because I've seen the truth and reality of this. So therefore it is in this way that you can help yourself, if you understand this view of emptiness. Tayatha. It is in this way. In other words, he's saying the middle way is this way. Middle way is this way. If you want to put an end to suffering, then make sure that you understand the emptiness, and make sure that you do not fall into two of the extremes of nihilism and extreme of eternalism. So the middle way is Tayatha. It is in this way. Then you, in many of the texts you will find Tayatha Gati Gati Pargati Parasam Gati Bodhisoha. The word Om will not be there. But many authentic texts, they say Om must be there. Tayatha Om Gati Gati Pargati Parasam Gati Bodhisoha. Just as we say Om Mani Pe Me Hu, Om Bejar Guru Pe Ma Si De Hu, Om Duga, Om Nengar Jing Godens. This mantra Om is the leader of all the mantras. So the leader must be there, number one. Number two, more importantly, the word Om symbolizes the person. Person. Symbolizes the person. Pena duksirwa. Om Swabhava Shuddh. Sarvadharma Swabhava Shuddh. Sanskrit signature Om Swabhava Shuddh. Om Swabhava Shuddh. This word Om is a combination of three letters. A O Ma. A O Ma. The word Om, when we say Om, it's a combination of three letters. A O Ma. So these three letters symbolizes your body, speech and mind. So with this it is referring to the person. Om means person who has this body, speech and mind. So this meaning is applicable to all the mantras. Om Mani Padme Hum or Om Benja Guru Pema Siddha. When you recite this, then you should remember this word Om is talking about oneself, the person, the self. So, Om Swabhava Shuddh. That means this person is by nature empty of independent existence. Swabhava se na, aapka swabhav kaise hai seedhe na khire. Swabhav se na nature. The person, its nature is such that it's empty of independent existence. Om Swabhava Shuddh. Similarly, Sarva Dharma. Sarva se na sangma, Dharma se na chu thamji rakhi jitu bedunga. Sarva Dharma Swabhava Shuddh. By nature they are empty of independent existence. Cheta ngai na re chu khemba khari na sangma rakhi jitu ba chega yo ma. Sta tungi gam ke ji do. Odina khire. Om. Cheta tanda de solam, jolam, thonglam, gomlam, miloblam, the five parts we already discussed. So if you want to travel through these five paths and achieve enlightenment, how you should do it? The Om, the person, if the person wants to go from one level to another level and then finally to enlightenment, how should you do it? So that's what he's saying. Om, the person, Gati, Gati, Paragati, Parasamgati, Bodhisattva. So it's basically saying, you go beyond. Go thoroughly beyond and establish yourself in enlightenment. Yamana sosulu duksu. Ngara? Tan doshon Suzuki Madana Digyo Sarva. Tati labde. When we say go beyond, go perfectly beyond and establish yourself in Buddhahood, then the question arises, where am I right now? Then the juk se waro. The juk se tadanga kawadu where you are right now. Right now you are in the samsara. Korwe nang yoro. Then the juk se the korwe ne far juk se waro. That the royal lelo yomarwa. Tambun dundu ki kulung gorwa. American and royal and rolung kundu gorwa. Kulung gorwa. So first you need to develop motivation to go from this samsara. So in order to develop this motivation to go from samsara, you need to understand the defects and the limitations of samsara. Khasang elab saimba. If you are finding full of peace and happiness in samsara, you will continue to stay here. Rawa. So you need to first of all see what is wrong with this samsara, the place where you are living. So once you understand the limitation of this samsara, then you will gradually develop what is known as renunciation. Genjung said. And then you will start realizing it's not only me but others are suffering. Then you develop compassion. So this kind of practice is like understanding impermanence, renunciation, compassion. These are almost like developing the motivation to go. But still you are not going. So slowly when you develop compassion and then finally you develop bodhicitta. Bodhicitta. As and when you develop bodhicitta, then you enter the first path, the path of accumulation. Lamtambu Thorada. Then you are going. You are going, but still, it is like running away from the enemy. You are already running, you are on the path, but still, there is chances that the enemy might catch you. So, Gati, Tangbu Chima Digomar, Gati, Yangchurju, or Jao. Gati, Yangchurju. Dagi Mazing Sal Leva Jukes. That's Solam Jolam Gola Tanda Yanga Yoro. Then it Dagi Mazimba Chene, the Jablol Pajuta, Tolam Chin, Dan Gesareda. Transcend the suffering. When you come directly see emptiness, then you have transcended the samsaric existence. Papa Gadan Nawa the Chivet Dungasene Punks. When you have seen emptiness directly and have entered the path of seeing, then you become an Arya. Then there is no aging, no death, no sickness. But still, you manage to escape from the reach of the enemy. In that way you are safe, but still you have not reached the final destination. For example, if you are a prisoner, then first of all, if you find that prison is no problem, then you will never think about running away from that prison. But if somebody tells you, okay, now better you run, because otherwise you are going to get this and that kind of ill treatment, then you develop a lot of fear, day and night think about running away from the prison, you develop the motivation, then finally you run from the prison, you see. And then, first of all, you develop the motivation, then you run, but still there is risk of the enemy catching you, and then finally you are able to reach a place where there's no risk of being caught by the enemy, but still you have not reached the destination. For example, if your destination is to seek the full support of the king, then you need to reach that kingdom. You have not reached that kingdom yet. So therefore, path of meditation, you still need to go. And then finally, when you become a Buddha, then you reach the kingdom. Establish yourself, Tayata, Gati, Paragati, is gain Parajuks. Parasamgati means go thoroughly beyond, path of meditation. Then finally, establish yourself, Changjubdi Hisukhi. Establish yourself, Parasamgati Bodhiswaha. That means establish yourself in enlightenment. When you become a Buddha, then you can really settle there nicely. It can be your permanent abode. There is no risk, no danger, no falling back. So in short, this is the meaning. Next one. Okay. Thus, Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound Parjana Paramita. So now you understand this very easily. Then the Blessed One, means Buddha, arose from the Samadhi and praised noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, "Good, good, O son of noble family, thus it is, O son of noble family, thus it is." Tadire. Tene chumdende tingin zintili Shariputra sama chimbu tada hirabji pharo sama labar chawo. Tene chumdende tingin zintili hingde. Earlier he was in that meditative state, empowering and blessing Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara to enter into this dialogue. Now he arose from that. Tene chumdende tingin zintili hingde. He arose from that meditative state. Chanjo semba jam phagpa chine zwanchula. And lexo, that the good, well done. Dialogue the takta chinsung, the he taman diksung sever, well done. Son of lexo, rigipu. Somehow Jen is onchula, lexo, he chavachene, lexo, rigipu, tedihino, tagaran reda, said tedihinos. Thus it is. It is exactly like that. Rigipu tedihinde. Chitarchuji temba shinda, just as you have taught. So what you have taught is absolutely correct. Now the important thing is we should all apply it, practice it, live into it. Having said this, when the Blessed One has said this, Venerable Shariputra and Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, and that whole assembly and the world with gods, humans, asuras and gandharvas rejoice and praise the words of the Blessed One. Ravata dire. Chumdin de Katzalni, Satan de Bashari do Dibuda, Chanjusema Sembajam, Pavajan is a monju, the Tamjeta de Korteda tangs. Rava? La, gods are said to be those who have their abode somewhere in the celestial space. Hladang, me miss here the people seek the Tata Kandisco in a man, country missing in the some low time Shukchamo you can check the missing dua. Tandadi man say you are man yugin, that's the same yugin, some low Shukchamo yugin. And then Hale Marchung say member, those who are a little bit lower than the gods, Ane Tuzulata dear, Lamai said, Lamai, the Demi Gods. We have loosely translated this as Demi Gods. Demi Gods are actually gods. But because of their inferior activities, then they are scolded and rebuked by saying, oh, because of your behavior, you are not fit to be in the realm of the gods. Tako mi ti kira mi mai tako kira in sigdo mi mai la mai se do store la mai la re inju 제가 가서 삼점 씹어 콜로나 창가 뒤에 지도 두트에 링이도 두트도 코마 비시도 어디 라마이스 쮸베차니 마이스 멤베다 어디라 라마이 and then असुराचेरवा इन गंधर्वास गंध से ना बहुत गंदगी है ठिमा से दे रहे गंधर्वास ने ठिमा सगे ठिमा सगे गाजो पे पे की दुखसुना योरा मिची खिसुना तने दुंडा रे सुर तंग दोवा और दिदो को ठिसा ता ठिमा सगे दिन छा दिमा तो साथु गयो मारे ठिसा smell eaters because their food is smell so therefore they called smell eaters gandharva so they are sentient beings like that but they all appreciate and rejoiced this dialogue and the Buddha's support. Jikden yirangde, jikden se ta ngara solan jikden se gyo ba, jikden. The world, the dinal de praise the human asura gandharva, the whole assembly, and the world se doa, world se di tuk se labga cherma to ngazo pepe ki nangjo nal jikden ta ngara solan la labgi yore. Ngara so ki tenji doa lu tenji doa den jig dogen chi re doa den jig be dance jig den ngara so sigore jig den phungbol ten tak ba khangsa khora raba ene shin dogen jin za ta phungbol ten tak ba khangsa sigore yirang de sna rejoice jig den yirang jesu yirang che de ta kechim bore chidane they all highly praise what the Buddha taught. Shirab the Parut Shimbe Ningbo Zoso. So they did it. Teacher, so this comes to an end of our 5 days coming together. Whatever comes together has to get separated. Anyway, I'm very, very happy that we have started this small program. And many of you have shown interest, listened, participated, and at the end I must once again say that we should again, just as these great beings have rejoiced at the teaching of the Buddha, we should all the time rejoice, repeatedly thinking, number one, I am a human being, not a dog, not a cow. Some people come to me and say, Geshe, can you please teach meditation? So I tell them, Yes, I can teach you, but before that you do something. So today you should do the meditation and think that, you are not a human being, you are a cow. So this whole morning you think you are a cow or a dog, not a human being. This is your meditation. I tell them sometimes jokingly. The reason is then you will understand. If you imagine yourself as a dog, where will you sleep? Where will you eat your breakfast? You may be just going around, but people will kick you, you see. Now we human beings have all these facilities, but still complaining, you see. So meditation is not forgetting the world, you see. It is living in the world. So therefore we should rejoice that I'm a human being, number one, and quite healthy, number two. Number three, we have access to these wonderful teachings. Great teachers like His Holiness Dalai Lama is here. This is the right opportunity to make every effort to get everything that we can while His Holiness is here, attending his teaching, listening to his advice, not just for personal benefit, but working hard to do something visible, something good for the benefit of many others. That is the purpose of life. I mean, When you start doing things, it's not easy as I'm saying right now. Saying is very easy, doing is difficult. But this does not mean to say that you should not start. If you do that, then our visit on this planet is meaningful. If you don't do this, just eat and eat and sleep, eat and eat and sleep. Not so different from animal. Then in many cases we are worse than animals. Animals, as His Holiness always says, the animals, when they are hungry, they kill somebody. Normally they live in good harmony with the nature. Our environment is not in danger because of the animals. It is in danger because of this terrible enemy called human beings. You see? Really horrible what we are doing on this planet. Using our intelligence in the wrong way. And still we call ourselves intelligent human being. If you are intelligent, sometimes I'm tempted to think, if you are really intelligent, then you should at least, you don't have to do too many things. If you are really, human beings are really intelligent, then we should first of all make fresh water available, fresh air available. These are the gifts of the nature. Now it's difficult even to get clean water, fresh air, still we call it intelligent human being. Once I was staying in a hotel, 5-star hotel, somewhere in America. Then I asked that person there, can I drink from the tap? He said, yes, you can, but... yes, you can, but... it's not so sure. He was not so sure. You see, that's the state. Now we are drinking from bottled water. And nobody's giving a damn thought about it. Everybody's just drinking, buying that bottled water, throwing the bottle everywhere. Everybody's doing that. In Tibet, before the Chinese came, water means drinkable. As His Holiness said, I'm repeating what His Holiness is saying. Because our purpose, my job, or anybody's job is to spread the message of His Holiness or Buddha, I personally don't have any wisdom to share. So, according to what His Holiness said, and what we all know is that before the Chinese came, invaded our country, water means drinkable, wherever it is. Now today, which water to drink, which water not to drink. And then as I said, don't just go after appearance, take time to find the reality. Much of what we are experiencing today is because of the business people. Business people who have no morality, no ethics, their job is only to sell things. Now we are living in sometimes it's quite frightening sometimes. Now we are living in a world where sometimes it looks that everything is for sale. Everything is for sale, including human beings. So very soon, morality will be sold, ethics will be sold, husband will be sold, wife will be sold. If you have money, you can do everything. We get this kind of impression, which is very dangerous, very risky, you see. So therefore, it is our great fortune that we have at least access to this kind of great teachings. So it's important not only to go to a shrine or go around the temple, We need to sit down, read, reflect, use your common sense. And then through that way, we will definitely be able to help many people. You don't have to get a big post to help people. There's so many opportunities. Just saying a nice word, just extending a helping hand, just smiling a little bit, bringing sunshine in the life of other people. All these things can be very easily done. If you're able to do that, your life will flourish, your health will flourish, your wealth will flourish, other people will get happiness. You're fulfilling wish of Buddha, wish of His Holiness, and whatnot, you see. So therefore, I'm very thankful to all of you that you spend your time and joined me in studying this precious text together. And I don't want to say a long prayer here, but in our own mind we should think that whatever small good merit we have accumulated, be it contribute towards the long life of His Holiness Dalai Lama, and for the peace, happiness, in our own land and for the well-being of many other people who are suffering today in the world. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.